Hi. Hi. Um, I just sent out an email a few minutes ago to the guys on my list, and I said, I'm done fixing problems. And that's how I feel. Sorry, I need a drink. I've spent a long time already um, working in the world of parental alienation and helping dads to fix the problem in their family dynamic in their life. And I feel by now that all of my material is out there, like whatever I have to say is out there. I've done 40 odd podcasts and a lot of live streams. There's a lot of material in the Facebook group. My there's some videos on YouTube, right, that many of you have watched already. I have courses available on my website that have my material is out there. My problem fixing material is out there. And that's not where my heart is anymore. I want to I want to work at a higher level. I want to work at I want to work at bringing you as a dad into your highest expression of fatherhood. Like not just getting up to zero, like get you out of the negative numbers to where you have your head above water and you can kind of, tread water and feel okay. Um I'm bored with that, to be perfectly honest. I want to up level fatherhood as a state of being, as a mission. I feel so strongly about the the goal, the need for fatherhood in the world. And I want to work at that level now. That's what really interests me. And if you've seen any of the little posts that I've been doing about what's happening in Santorini in a couple of weeks, that's where I'm going with that. So I'm just going to say a few words about, um, well, not about parental alienation, but that the problem beyond, whatever the court system is doing to you, or what your ex-wife is doing to you and your kids. All that stuff is real, but what's at the core of getting beyond that is there is a core problem where you as a person don't feel worthy of what fatherhood is really about. I see it in all the dads that I work with, that there is some part of you like that you've been brainwashed out of believing that you deserve to be on that pedestal, which you do. And the thing that I see in the dads that I work with is how hooked they are to the approval of their children. How how much it wounds them to not be able to receive the kind of feedback that they want so badly. And that that upside down kind of situation, I've talked about that as, kind of rolling your kayak or whatever, right? The whole dynamic becomes upside down when you are not able to own this image of yourself as that unreachable father that your kids want to have. You feel like you don't know how to get there, how to be that person. So when I called this reimagining fatherhood, what if fatherhood isn't about that feedback? What if fatherhood is a kind of a one-way stream of energy that you could master, that you could learn how to broadcast that frequency stream that could come out of you. And, what if it was about constantly up leveling your own energy so that your kids would never, um, they would constantly be looking up to you because there would never be an end to how high they had to look. What if it was about that? And it's for sure that you can't get into that space if you can't even imagine yourself right now as being worthy of them looking up to you. So I really, really want to encourage you to come along with me on this journey of up leveling the concept of fatherhood. I have to tell you about a article that I read the other day, and I wrote this in a message to my email community too. If you're not on my email list, get hold of me, Tracy at undeletabledad.com. I'll put that up at the end if you need to see it again. But I'd be very happy to add you to my email list, and I do reach out once a week or so with messages. But I read an article a couple of days ago on the website called Today's Parent. I think that's where it was. And oh, I can't tell you how it kind of affected me. I'm not sure if I kind of felt like throwing up or my blood was boiling or something, but it was so typical of the kind of stuff that dads are being bombarded with, this imagery of how a dad could, like that the ultimate kind of fatherhood is to be as much as possible like a mother in some way. And this particular article was talking about, you know, reduced levels of testosterone that are observed when a dad is holding a new baby, on his chest or some kind of nonsense, right? And how, fathers are observed to get prolactin in their blood. Prolactin is the hormone that, helps nursing mothers to produce milk. You don't need female hormones to be a good father. Like, and of course, there's, lots of dads talk about how, having a child changed me forever. And it's a kind of love that I never experienced before. All of that is wonderful. I'm not talking about cutting that out of the picture, but it's such a wrong image to lead you towards believing that somehow the goal is for you to remake yourself into a father who's more like a mother, because that is not at all the truth of what fatherhood is about. There was a quote from a man in that article who said, "I don't want to be the kind of dad who prepares my child for the world. I want to be the kind of dad who prepares the world for my child." And I think that's ass backwards too, actually. And of course, there's no reason that you can't have both. And that's what I mean to say when it's not that you can't be a tender, loving, cuddly, affectionate kind of dad. I had one of those. My dad was the huggiest guy ever, much huggier even than my mom. He was the source of a lot of physical affection in my family. So that's not what I'm talking about. But it will always be your job to prepare your child for the world. I'm sorry. Like, you don't get to step away from that because that is the definition of fatherhood. That doesn't mean that you can't also, like, meanwhile, try to make the world a better place to receive your children when they're ready to become adults. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. But it's not one or the other. Like, you do have to prepare your child for the world, because if you spend all your time being an activist for the world being a better place and the world doesn't actually change in the next 15 years, then your kids are not going to be very happy with you that you put all of your eggs into that basket and didn't give them what they need to cope with what's there right now. And this is such an important message. You may know that I'm a longtime meditator, so I've studied a lot of um, over the years, a lot of Buddhist philosophy, and there's a very wise story about um, the Buddha telling someone, I don't know, that you can, instead of hiring servants to sweep the ground in front of you wherever you walk so that you don't get any little thorns in your feet, it would be much better to like put on a pair of shoes and then walk wherever you want, right? That's what you want to teach your children, all the skills they need to cope with all the crap there is in the world. You don't want to, you know, sit in front of Congress with a sign lobbying for there to be no more crap in the world. That's not going to happen. There's going to be crap, personal crap and social crap and business crap and school crap and neighborly crap, right? Like there's no getting away from the difficulties that people are going to have to face. And your job as a father is to transmit everything that you have that will help your children to be successful no matter the circumstances they have to face. That's what it is. And you don't get to like these kind of cutesy statements about, not going to prepare my child for the world. I'm going to prepare the world for my child. Like, I'm sorry, but that's some bullshit. I just have to call that out. Okay. So you can do both. Of course, you can do both, but you cannot let go of that first obligation because then you're not being a father at all. So, what I want to reimagine is what fatherhood could be if we completely embraced the masculine element of it instead of somehow being ashamed of the masculinity that's inherent in fatherhood. We're getting told that there's something toxic about masculinity, that we need to back off from the masculinity part and back off from like do something to lower your testosterone. And I just think that it's awful and it's also completely the wrong advice. It's just wrong. I want to reimagine a fatherhood that mines masculinity for everything that it has to give. And that involves that involves accessing what I refer to as the genius level of consciousness. We spend a lot of time in our shadow consciousness, which is essentially the basement, it's like you live in this beautiful house and you spend 95% of your time in the basement, like patching cracks in the foundation where the water's coming in. That's the shadow where it's like your inner narrative that you're telling yourself. It's stuff that you're hearing from the collective, from the media, from magazines, from movies, from your neighbors, from people everybody telling you something that diminishes your sense of who you are, diminishes your confidence in who you are, makes you second guess yourself and and doubt what you're capable of. And the first floor is like where the power is coming into the house and there are, outlets and you can plug things in and the lights come on. Like there's life there, right? And that's the power that you need to get like past your own glass ceiling of what you think is possible. That's where I want to work, I want to extend and expand who you imagine that you could be. And when you get there, what do you think you can give your kids from that place? Right? When you are animating your own genius frequency of consciousness, that's where you get to cultivate genius in your children. That's where you get to bring your children forward in life in a way that's beyond even the word potential doesn't capture it, because potential is still um, a very human sort of power archetype level concept of like reaching for my potential. Your potential is always from your present perspective, right? What you think is possible from where you're standing right now. But I can tell you that in the history of humanity, from the time that somebody first made a fire or created the wheel or whatever, right? As soon as one or two or three people are able to do something new, it becomes infinitely easier for everyone else to just do it because it's a thing. I've spoken before about Roger Bannister and the 4 minute mile back in the 1930s, I guess, right? The first guy who ever was able to run a mile in under 4 minutes. They'd been trying for 100 years to do it since there were timers, that could time accurately. So nobody had ever been able to break that 4 minute mile. And as soon as he did it, bloody everyone could do it. Anyone could do it. The very next race, three guys broke 4 minutes that they'd been training all their lives to do. This is the 100 monkeys story, right? That like, they train monkeys, learn how to, I don't know, grab a banana out of a cage or something, right? And as soon as enough monkeys can do it, then all the monkeys on the other islands can do it, even if they were never exposed to a monkey who knew the trick of how to do it. This is a thing. We don't have to understand it, but we have to use that principle. So this is what I'm going to Santorini to do. I'm going to train 3 dads in getting out of the basement and past the first floor right into their genius level of consciousness. What's on the other side of the glass ceiling that we make for ourselves, the limit of what we think our own possibility is, because there is so much beyond there. That's where I want to work. That's what I'm excited about. I can't wait to do that. And while I'm there, I will be doing an energetic activation to send this energy directly out to people who want to connect with me, to consciously connect with me while I'm there doing it, which is, I mean, I've had plenty of energy body activations in my time that have been um, life-changing experiences for me. So I'm really, really looking forward to being able to do this. So I'm going to do some more live streams this week and talk more about this idea of reimagining fatherhood. And basically, we're talking about like playing the big game of fatherhood. Like, what could it be if we weren't limiting ourselves with our own personal, what we think are our personal limitations of what we're capable of, what we deserve, what other people think of us, all that crap, letting go of our attachment to our old ideas of what we could possibly do, especially in the context of parenting after divorce, where you have limited amount of time with your children. Like, this is the call for evolution, this change of social order, where like half of all the families now are in this situation. Like half of all the families, certainly in the Western world, I don't know if it's true, um, in India and China, that this um, social construct of divorce and kids living across, 2 households afterwards. I don't know if it's as prevalent in the East as it is in the West, but like we're up to half of all the households, half of all the kids in any given school are living between 2 households now. We have to figure this out. And I want to just step out of this game of comparison and of competition and just like break the damn glass ceiling where there are no problems anymore. You are just in your genius zone and you are cultivating the genius of your children so that you don't have to sweep the ground. You don't have to change the world to receive them. You prepare them to be able to handle anything that comes in front of them. That is a worthy goal of fatherhood, in my opinion. And I'm very excited about working on that level. So you'll hear more from me this week. And if you are not already in my Undeletable Dad group on Facebook, feel free to join me there. Here's my email address. I'd love to hear from you. hop over to undeletabledad.com. That, as I was saying before, my courses are there. There's a lot of stuff there. There's links to, oh, I've been on so many other people's podcasts, and my own podcast has lots of episodes. So there's a lot that you can get from me if you are particularly interested in the meat and potatoes of parental alienation. But if you are interested in animating your highest expression of fatherhood, um, let me hear from you and let's stay in touch. Bye.